welcome back to my channel, Books and Beauty. My name is Tori. So if you watched my other video, you'll see where I talk about my first travel assignment as a pharmacy technician. And so this video is basically just going to be a run through of the process of getting started, because I noticed that majority of the videos and information that I searched for was geared towards nursing. So I wanted to make sure that there's more information out there for travel techs, because a lot of people don't know that pharmacy technicians can travel like nurses do. Because I didn't know until April of this year, literally. But not just like technicians either, like respiratory therapists, pharmacists, those that work in the dental industry, EVS, non-clinical, like there's a bunch of stuff out there. You just have to actually like go onto the sites and look. So I actually made a list so that I won't leave anything out. So basically, before you even like consider traveling, like I wasn't prepared. I kind of like dove headfirst right into it because like I wasn't working and I wanted to get out and do things and work and travel. So I honestly was not as prepared as I could have been. So we're gonna start out like, okay, I already had my Michigan license and my PTCB certification, so that was a bonus. Now, if you already know what states you're going to consider traveling to, start getting those licenses like before you even apply to the agencies, because you're going to need those licenses. Not every state is going to require a license. Like Hawaii and Wisconsin don't require licenses. I don't know what other states don't, but those two do not require licenses. But it's good to have your PTCB certification for anywhere you're going, because hospitals really want you to have that. But it's a process. Some places take longer than others. Like New Jersey took like almost 3 weeks. Florida approved my license in literally like 2 days. But once I was actually about to come down was when I had to actually go get my fingerprints done. So it was really weird because like they had already approved my license, but then I had to go like right behind and do my fingerprints like maybe a whole month later, which is weird. New Orleans is a long process. California is a long process. Illinois and North Carolina were like extremely simple as fuck and cheap, if I recall. But like just research how much it's gonna cost first, because you have to pay for the application fee, and then you have to pay to get your fingerprints. Now, your agency will reimburse you. They're supposed to reimburse you for getting your licenses and things like that for the state that you're going to be traveling to. So like if you do all of that before you even apply to the agency, keep your receipts so that they can reimburse you for it. So after that, after you have all of your, your licenses, certifications and everything, and you know what states you're going to be wanting to travel to, if you know you want to do retail or hospital, things like that, that's when you start searching for agencies. So there are dozens upon dozens upon dozens of different travel agencies. Now, when I first started searching, I applied to 3 different ones: Arias, Aya, and Soliant. Arias contacted me first, so that is who I'm currently with. I know someone who's with Aya, but for me personally, I never heard from them. Like even still to this day, I haven't heard anything from them, even though like back in August and early September, not really early September, but like mostly through August, like I was like saying that I was interested in places, and I never heard anything back. So I kind of gave up with them. But Soliant is extremely responsive, but I was already with Arias. They contacted me first, so. But you figure out, which agency you want to go with. You can apply to several different ones. It really doesn't matter. So the process is really simple. You go through, put in your information, your resume, your licenses, certifications, your experience. Like, it's extremely detailed because they want to know, excuse me, they want to know, what systems you're familiar with, like Omnicell or Talus, Carousel, all that stuff. Epic, Cerner, they are going to want to know if you're familiar with all of that. IV compounding, and it depends. Like, a lot of the places will actually list what they're looking for. If they're looking for midnight people, if they're looking for evening people, they're looking for IV people or people that are really familiar with Omnicell. Like, usually they'll actually say that. Goodness, excuse me. So, okay, yeah, so after you submit like all your information or whatever, like for Arias, my recruiter literally called me the next day, and that was when we started, just going through my profile, making sure all my information was accurate and up to date, and then that was when we started discussing possible locations. There are like several different states that I had wanted to go to, and so she searched through those to see what was available, and so she submitted me for them. And before you get submitted, they'll usually go through the pay package with you, so they'll tell you how much you're going to get paid weekly, how much they're going to give you like per hour that's going to be taxable, and then the stipend, which is going to be untaxed. Now, I'm not sure what other agencies do, but with Arias, they actually pay you the stipend, and you're responsible for finding your own housing. So for me, that was a little hectic. Extremely hectic, not a little. Extremely hectic. But so yeah, like you'll go through, the locations and the pay, and then you basically just wait to hear from the hospitals after that. So the interview that I had, it was a Zoom interview. Usually it's either Zoom or over the phone, obviously. But for my first assignment, it was a Zoom interview with 2 of the pharmacy managers, and it was about 15 minutes. But it was extremely basic, just trying to see how much experience you had, what you were familiar with. They go through what the shifts and hours are going to be like, It's very basic. Honestly, I don't even know why it was 15 minutes. It was very basic. So after the fact, I think I got my offer the same day. And so my recruiter contacted me, sent me the contract, and I read through it, signed it, sent it over, and that's when you start getting all of this paperwork that you got to do. Because they'll actually, ask you when you can start, like when do you want to start. And so I usually do like 3 weeks out. So like when I first applied to Arias, I was like, oh, I can start, in 3 weeks. So I started in 3 weeks. And like I'm on my second assignment right now, and I did a 3-week break between my first one and before I came here. So, I'm like, yeah, 3 weeks. Usually the postings will say if they need somebody immediately or not, or you can just, or you can just, let them know which date that you want to start. That scared the shit out of me. Okay. But yeah, so make sure you just like completely read through your contract, make sure everything's in there, the pay, sick leave if necessary, all that stuff. It's a lot to read through, but it's good to read through the whole thing. And then two, if you're going to need any specific dates off during your contract, make sure that they put those dates in the contract, because during my first assignment, there were 4 days that I needed off that were not put into my contract. I told 3 different managers that I needed those days off. I was still scheduled on 2 of those days, and they tried to send those dates to my recruiter as call off, which is not accurate. So on my second assignment, like, there were 4 days that I needed off. Those were in my contract so that there were no issues, so that they would know I'm not going to be here. It's better for everybody if it's actually in your contract, and make sure, like, when you get to your assignment that you tell them again so they know. Like, make sure as soon as you get the schedule, you let them know if it's not already on there. But yeah, so you sign your contract and everything. For some reason, people are confused on whether or not agencies offer insurance or not. I don't know about the other agencies, but Arias definitely offers insurance, health, vision, dental, life insurance, all that good stuff. Now, you don't have to sign up for it. It's totally up to you. Me being in a whole nother state, and with the insurance that I had in Michigan, I decided to sign up for health insurance just in case, because I'm a sickly person. I want to make sure I can go see someone while I'm in another state. So there's that. Now, apparently, contractors don't get bereavement. In June, I had my grandfather on my dad's side. He passed away in June, and I called off. That was another day that they reported to my recruiter as a call off, and there's nothing I could do about it. I couldn't fly home. Flight prices were insane, and it was like too short of notice or something like that, but no bereavement for contract workers, apparently. Sick time. In Jersey, I was accruing sick time. I think that's something that is supposed to be in your contract, because I didn't see anything about sick time in my Florida contract, because that's where I am now. I'm in Florida. But I don't think I'm accruing sick time while I'm here, which I also think is a little stupid. Like, I know we're going to be here for 13 weeks, so technically you're not expecting us to call off, but, like, things happen, and I feel like we should still be accruing sick time in any place that we're working. It's just a little weird. But anywho, alright, I already talked about start date, end date. I don't know why I put end date. Make sure that your end date is correct on your contract, because when I got to Jersey, they were under the assumption that I was going to be there for 6 months. No. I'm like, dude, this is my first assignment. I don't want to stay somewhere for 6 months when I want to travel to other places. And then 2, it's New Jersey. No offense to New Jersey, but I don't want to be there for 6 months. Especially not during fall, almost winter. Because, hello, I live and grew up in Detroit. I know what winters are like. I don't want to be up there for that. No, thank you. Not in a whole nother state. And I know it get cold over there too. I'm good. So, yeah, just make sure that your facility has your correct end date. Because sometimes, yeah. Now, housing. Like I said, Arias pays you the stipend, and you're responsible for your own housing. So there are a lot of options, but it when you're looking, it doesn't seem like a lot of options. So you got Airbnb, VRBO, furnished finders. Um, you can do extended stays. And then there's also like several different Facebook groups for, like travel nursing and all that other stuff where people will go in and, list their housing or whatever. Yeah, but they'll have like their Airbnb, VRBO listings on the Facebook groups so people can get in contact with them there. It's just so that they can reach out specifically to like the traveling people. And so, like, Jersey was ridiculous. Like, first of all, like, the prices were a little heinous. My first week I stayed at a Hilton hotel, which would have been fine, but they charged $100 per night incidental fee. I only stayed there a week. My second week I stayed at a Airbnb studio apartment. That one was nice. I would have stayed there longer, but it got booked up. Then I stayed at a Wyndham hotel for 3 weeks, which was a nightmare because there was a sex worker next door to me having very loud, obnoxious sex. It was bad. And then the rest of my contract, I stayed in like shared housing. So it was basically a landlord renting out rooms of a house that she had, which would have been fine. Like, I saved money, yes, but peace of mind was out of the window. It was just like, shared housing is not for everybody because it is not for me. I did it once. I'll never do it again. I will never do it again. And it was mainly due to the fact that, a person couldn't respect boundaries and then people didn't want to clean up after themselves. And I'm like, we all grown, what the fuck? But yeah, housing can be a bitch. So it's one of those things like, before you actually submit to an assignment, check the area for housing first. Check the area for housing first. Check the area for housing first. Because it can be a nightmare. Like right now, I'm in an extended stay, and aside from the elephants upstairs, it's decent. Like, it has a little kitchenette. I bought an air fryer and a toaster oven, so like, I'm perfectly fine. I don't got nobody up in my space or at my face, getting on my nerves, constantly trying to speak to me when I just want silence. I'm 5 minutes away from the hospital. Like, I'm good this time. But like, location. Like, make sure that you check housing first. That is all I'm gonna say, because you don't want to be SOL. Like, that's the other thing. Like, when you're connecting with the people on the Facebook groups, make sure that they are legit, because I've seen too many posts of people getting scammed. So like, make sure, like, first of all, don't send them any money until you can actually like confirm that the place is theirs. So like, if you have to do like like have them FaceTime you so they can show you the place or whatever, like something like that. Or even if you stay at a hotel the first week you get to your assignment before you move into the place, so you can double check to make sure that the place is legit. Just things like that, because like, you're already traveling, you're already stretched thin, and it's like, people are still trying to take advantage of you, and it's hella raggedy. But so here's the other one. What am I talking about? Paychecks. So that's the other thing. It's like, you have to make sure you have money before you even decide to travel, because it's going to take you some money to get there, because you get reimbursed after the fact. So you have to pay your license fee. You have to pay to get your fingerprint and background for your license. You have to pay to get any vaccinations that aren't covered by your insurance. You have to pay for your transportation to get there, whether you're driving or you're flying. All of that gets reimbursed on your first paycheck, at least for me with Arias. All of that gets reimbursed on your first paycheck. So that first paycheck is going to be hefty. But, after that, your paychecks are going to go back to being just, your weekly pay and then your stipends. And then your last paycheck is going to be another, somewhat hefty one, because then you get reimbursed for your travel back home. So that's just, one of those things. Make sure you have enough money to even get you there in the first place, and that you can survive those first 2 weeks until you get your first paycheck, because I was struggling. I was not prepared. Like I said, I dove right in. I was not prepared. Be prepared. Be prepared. The last thing I want to talk about is staff, because I feel like when you start at any job, it's going to be, awkward, because you don't know how your new coworkers or anybody's going to be. And so I wasn't prepared, because when I got to Jersey, everybody was really welcoming and really nice and everything. But I kept hearing that, people were kind of side-eyeing the travelers because they're assuming that we're getting paid more than them. And that's not necessarily the case, because we are either getting paid the same or we're getting paid less than them. All the extra money that we make is from our stipends, and that's if we can even find a place that is cheap enough where we can save up that money. But they aren't gonna see it that way. They're still gonna side eye you. They're still gonna look at you some type of way. They're still gonna look at you like you shouldn't be there, or they just aren't gonna like you. I'm in Florida right now, and I started with 3 other travelers. So we're all on the same shift, afternoon shift or whatever. Day shift people do not like us. When we come in, here's the thing, you're not obligated to say hi to anybody. You're not obligated to speak at all. I get that, because I know I'm not obligated to, but my reflex is to speak when someone speaks to me. So we'll come in the door and we'll just be like, oh, hey, good afternoon, and silence. Those people will say nothing. They will look us dead in our face and say nothing. They do not like us. And then it's not just the fact that it's day shift people, it's day shift people up front. Because me and the travelers that came in to Florida were in the IV room. And I don't know what it is, but they do not like us. They side eye us. They ignore us. They act like we just, we did something to them. And I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. But no, some of the workers, I guess, don't really care for us, because I guess us being there took away from them possibly having overtime. Some of them are upset because I guess now that they can be in the IV room. But I'm like, okay, why didn't you tell the manager that you wanted to be back there beforehand? It's just a lot of, little petty stuff. But I'm like, child, I'm here to get paid. So yeah, but I just wanted to go through the list of things that you had to do so that you'll be more prepared than I was. For my second assignment, I was more prepared. Because while I was in Jersey, I applied for my Florida license. I knew for a fact that I wanted to be in Florida next. So I went ahead and got my license for them before my contract was Like, I still had like maybe a month and some change before my contract ended in Jersey when I applied for my Florida license, because I wanted to make sure that I had it. And then, I made sure I was up to date on all my vaccinations and everything, make sure I had all my paperwork. And then the only issue that I had was just, what facilities were actually going to be hiring when I started looking, like once my contract ended. And so I'm not going to say location for safety reasons, obviously. But like, once I saw, the options, that's when I started looking in the areas for housing before I told my recruiter, okay, yes, submit me for that. I packed less than I did when I went to Jersey, which is helpful. I actually had funds, so I wasn't really struggle busing my first 2 weeks, so second time around is better. But I will end up doing another review once I finish this assignment. But I hope I covered everything. I hope I didn't leave anything out. If you have any other questions, you can go ahead and put them down in the comments. Make sure you like, subscribe, because I need to get back to doing like my actual books and beauty thing. I've been slacking, but I'm really hoping I can get back to that while I'm traveling. That's my goal. But thank you guys for watching. I hope this video was as helpful as it could be. Thanks.